There's this myth out there that black men can't handle being spoken to, and told what to do by black women. Black men come from our bodies.
Yeah.
So they're used to having these conversations with women.
The matriarchy is strong with the black
community. It is
community.
very strong.
A motherfucker just supposed to take and accept whatever the fuck you say, because I'm
when the morning comes, I've got places I need to be. To know you're by the phone, no, you'll never have me. I still dream of what I still dream of.
So be.
I don't wanna spend another day of my life waiting for you to love me with all of your empty promises, empty promises, empty promises, your empty promises, your empty promises.
Subi.
JLY.
What it do? What it do? Shout out to all the MILF hunters out there. Shout out to all the MILF hunters. A special place in heaven for MILF hunters. Tracy says she trying to give it up to a young buck. She only trying to give it up to a young buck. Oh, to be young again. How's everybody doing tonight? Saint Velour, you almost at 1,000 subs. Going from YN to Unc, I feel you. I feel you. It's a dirty grind, bro. It's a dirty grind. You got to stay in it. What is good, everybody? Kind of a light night tonight. You know, often I try to put together a show about, you know, a serious topic, something heavy, you know, something of political weight. And then there's other nights where, you know, we just want to talk about hoes. So I think tonight is one of those nights. Not only that, did you know Michelle Obama has a podcast, right? You probably all heard of it by now. Wasn't doing so hot at first. It looks like her numbers are kind of turning the corner. She's pulling up more respectable numbers now. But one thing I did notice is she took a content turn. And I get it as a creator, you know, one creator to another. I understand not everybody can just immediately fall right into a niche. And so Michelle, I guess she's looking for a niche. And being a Black woman on television, well, not television, but like on YouTube, live streaming and whatnot, it's really, really easy for Black women, for women really, it's really easy for women to make money in the relationship market in terms of like media, conversations, whatnot. And I see Michelle Obama basically doing that for her channel. And I imagine it's going to help. It's going to work because, you know, girls like that kind of talk. Girls are always into that kind of talk. And women do tend to drive a lot of the media views and the clicks and whatnot. So I can get it. It makes perfect sense. Now, on the other hand, and this is where it's a weird, just a weird move, like a weird flex type thing. The wife of our former president, and not just any former president. It's not like it's, you know, Jimmy Carter's wife, right? It's not like it's Gerald Ford's wife or whatever. The wife of the first Black president. You're out here doing a podcast like a regular project, bitch. That's a weird move. I don't think that is a good move at all for her. But just like Steph Curry's wife, she wanted to be looked at too. She wanted people to look up at her and be like, "You did something." What's crazy about her podcast, though, is if you listen to it long enough, especially like in the opening parts of it when they're just kind of building up, she winds up taking weird little shots at Obama. And this is the crazy thing about, the black love dynamic and being successful. And then, he's the first black president. Whether or not you're a Democrat or all, that shouldn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Like, the nigga about something, you know what I mean? And even when you're the first black president, your wife, who you've carried along to greatness, right? She goes out of her way to take little pot shots at you on her podcast, just so everybody could see her flexing on the president, on the ex-president, on the first black president. It's such a weird move. Like, every time it's like you gotta take some weird shot at Obama, just elbow him in the ribs a little bit. Even on the podcast with Tracy Ellis, like, I heard a weird little shot thrown at Obama. I'm like, why are you even allowing this? What's going on here? Why is this happening? I guess being the first black president don't really buy you the respect that you expect it does. But anyway, Michelle Obama is a relationship podcaster now. I don't think I would like to have I don't want to be in a relationship where my girlfriend just out the blue decides to be a relationship podcaster. I feel like she's trying to get some things off her chest that she didn't want to bring up to me directly. Like, this whole job is just going to be you on the mic taking subs at me. I might as well leave if that's how it's going to be. Dirty says there's nothing odd about black women throwing shade to her man. In fact, Savannah James is an anomaly because she's supportive in public. No bull. I really hadn't had a chance nor reason to even say this before now, but of all the popular celebrity wives out there you could think of, like black ones especially, like Savannah James has held LeBron down. Like, raised the kids, never heard a peep out of her until the podcast thing started popping off. Like, during his career, she was just like the wife, the NBA wife, right? Which for a lot of women, that sounds like denigration or a step down or something. Like, she's supposed to be so much better and so much more. But in reality, that's the job. And what winds up happening with a lot of modern women with all these new modern ideas about how things are supposed to be, you wind up resenting the nature of the job and wanting to be more than the job. And from the man's perspective, you've lost a certain practicality. And now it's like, well, what's the point if you're too big for the job that I want you for? Which brings me to Tracy Ellis Ross and her appearance today. By now, you guys have seen the clip going around. I'm going to pull it back up for you just in case you haven't seen the clip going around. But she's into the younger guys. And for a specific reason. Like, she dates with intention, apparently. That's what the chicks are calling it, right? And as she lays out some of her reasoning why, she actually reveals a darker thought process and a pattern in her logic there. And it's not unique to her. This is why we're going to talk about this today. And I just dropped a pre-edited video on this little thing because I see a lot of Tracy Ellis Rosses in the near future. You know how like we talk about this wave of old people that's pretty much entering their retirement and whatnot. Well, right behind them is pretty much a wave, just droves of unaccompanied MILFs, just lonely older women. We're entering the MILF apocalypse, if you think about it. Got moms and grandmoms on OnlyFans, thirst trapping grandmamas. The hoes of yesterday never even had it this good. They broke the glass ceiling of hoeing. Once upon a time, you could only hoe to a certain level. And now, you got Tracy Ross here. And, you know, this is a good looking woman. That is a good 52. That is a solid 52 right there. I mean, keeping this image up for a reason there, because it's not bad. The question I want to raise, though, how long before the thirst trap expires? Can a thirst trap ever go bad? Can you thirst trap with an AARP card? Now that I've said it out loud, I almost guarantee there's something out there. Now that I'm thinking the thoughts into the ether, I know for a fact there are AARP thirst traps out there. What else could there be? There could be no other way. Thirst trapping in the senior citizen home. Your stepdad took you to an old folks pickup bar in Sun City, Arizona. I bet the old ladies give it up. They ain't even got time to waste. Look, this bus is moving. You getting on or not? What a time, what a time. And then just to bring us back to reality a bit, you got the esteemed former first lady. This is such a terrible look when you take it all in totality. You got the esteemed former first lady, longtime married woman, mother. And she's sitting across the table from her never married, never mothered best homegirl, just eating up her wild and free hotels. That's how marriages die. That's the call of the wild. Seducing a married mother. Do they all want to be free? They all answer the call eventually. And then, Michelle Obama, she's got this brother. He's technically a part of the show, but he's like a non-factor. He's barely a man. He's just like this male figure with female opinions. They could really do the whole thing without him, honestly. The last thing two hoes need is some random dude clapping it up in the background. He's totally unnecessary. Anyway, I guess that's been enough jabber. Let's take a look. Let's get right into the festivities here. Let me give you guys a snippet of all the dramas going on today. Hit the like button. Finally getting this thing on the road. Let's crank this bad boy up.
I mean, we've talked about this, that often I date younger men. And a lot of it is because...
Let's stop on that, folks.
Oh my God, we had a great dinner. We had a great dinner, by the way, where across the table, your husband goes, but why? And I said, well, maybe because I can.
Yes.
Again, you letting your homegirl come in there and take shots at the ex-president. Like, that's your husband. That's the ex-president. Can we get one of the Secret Service guys to come smack this chick up a little bit? Just rough her up. Don't mess up her makeup or nothing. Just, like a rib shot or something.
This is what I'm saying. Tales from Tracy's.
It's fun. It's very fun to share.
Tracy tale.
But
and again, yeah, Michelle with the teenage hairstyle and the little braids, trying to have like your second childhood thing going on. The whole thing is... This is one of the cringiest things ever in Black media.
I'm sorry.
But one of the reasons, though, that because I had to ask myself that question, I was like, what is this about?
Yeah.
Tracy with the set it off cornrows. But I know why Tracy got cornrows, because Tracy's the bop. Tracy is a 52-year-old bop. She's at a higher level, so she doesn't really give typical bop energy. But if you were like the man of her level that she says she's tired of messing with, she's a bop. That's why she doesn't like those guys, because those guys know she's a bop.
Because I want a partner. And so often, and it's not just that I'm older, I'm also very embodied. I am a full, very whole person who knows myself, who is in charge of my life, and
hey, this is going to be tough. I know, listening to women talk a lot, but there's so many unnecessary, useless phrases. I'm full embodied. I'm in charge of myself. Who the hell else is supposed to be in charge of you? It's not like you got a husband
who lives a very full, just robust life. So it's not just age, it's like life experience and sort of a difference. But I had to ask myself the question, why? Why does this keep sort of coming up other than they're hot and gorgeous?
There's that.
But a lot of men my age are steeped in a toxic masculinity and have...
Men her age are steeped like a hot tea bag, just steeped in toxic masculinity. Yeah, that is the conversation we are going to have tonight. We're going to actually roll the clock back a little bit in this conversation. Pull up your chair, like the video. Let's get to it now. Tracy Ellis, the Obamas, Ho Talk.
So they're playing in one of the admin gyms, and we get the call. We hear that the agents are like, renegades blood coming back. There's been an accident, and I'm like, ugh, because I'm always like, be careful playing basketball. You shouldn't be playing now. You now have a real important job.
Yeah, people are depending on you.
And literally he's coming in with a gauze thing on his
on his
lip.
He didn't need stitches or anything.
He needed like 30 something stitches.
Why are you telling everybody about the time Obama got his lip busted on the basketball court? Do you realize all the effort that went into keeping that a secret? Do you realize all of the people who were forced, probably at gunpoint, to forget it ever happened? And here you go, just telling everybody the business in front of your homegirl. It's terrible shit.
Now you now have a real important job.
Yeah, people are depending on you.
You know, and literally he's coming in with a gauze thing on his
Oh my God.
lip.
He didn't need stitches or anything.
He needed like 30 something stitches. I mean, his lip was, I saw it. It was like he took the thing away and I was like, your lip. And he had some major speech. This was probably Saturday. He had some major speech on.
And the next day, the chef drowned in the lake.
Monday. And I was like, this is what I'm saying. You know, you're playing like you're 10 and now your lip is split. So we digress.
Yes.
Because
That's okay.
no longer are we dating people?
No, but I am.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
I was like, Tracy's, my girl.
Yeah.
I mean, the tales from the road.
And
married women admire their single girlfriends' hotels. And that's a dangerous thing. That I feel like that's a thing that's been lost among like female culture. Or maybe I don't know this. Maybe this was never a thing, but women don't really have that shame or the boundaries like, oh no, I could never. She's like, ew, she's a slut. I don't want to. Nowadays, it's like, oh my God, she's such a hoe. Oh, Becky, you got to meet Hindi. Kendra is such a freak, Becky. Oh my God, the stories she can tell you. Like, it's so weird now. Maybe I have this old school 1920s picture that women used to be kind of different. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they were always this way.
I bring stories home. I bring back to Michelle
stories. I'm like, what's happened in the last several months?
And it's always eventful.
It's always good.
Well, the thing is, I stay open.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Barack hates it when this old freaky light-skinned bitch comes around the house. If you don't get away from Michelle with this shit, ain't like you could ever tag it. This shit is such a waste. I know she is stressful for Barack. Every time this old freaky red bitch come around the house, Michelle start acting all brand new.
I'm probably more
open.
Yes. Oh my God, that sounded so wrong.
I didn't mean that, Mom.
My heart.
She is way open, by the way. Wide.
It's always good.
Well, the thing is, I stay open.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably more
open.
Yes. Oh my God, that sounded so wrong.
I didn't mean that, Mom.
My heart.
Your family.
My heart stays open.
Your heart
more open than it should. Yes. Yeah, that was right.
All right.
More open than it should be.
At 52 years old, she doesn't actually have a heart. She has like the physical organ of a heart, but like that Valentine's heart, that little shape, no, that shit's gone. By 52, that little symbol has faded away. All her heart does now is pump blood and wine.
But I do date, and it's a fascinating adventure out there, Mostly, though, I think there's really good men out there. I think to a certain extent, I'm a very unique sort of unicorn of a woman. And so it's going to take a unique person.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime,
nobody's there waiting for you. You could have had any man, but you're too good for every man. So you wind up with no man. It's a tale old as liberation. It's what happens when you let women be free.
Meantime, I have really learned how to live my life and enjoy it and not sit around waiting. I was saying to someone recently that I'm one of the first generations of choice, and it's not anymore, which really, there was a window and that has shifted. And I do think that that's going to change dating.
Dirty Folks, the bald dude who looked like he's sexually attracted to minors, that is the Michelle Obama's brother. Yeah. Family secrets, bro. Family secrets, man.
for women so much.
You would, when you mean you've been the sort of the product of choice.
Yeah,
you mean
like the assumption of Roe v. Wade and the ability for a woman to find her own delight and pleasure and choice around how she navigates dating or how one would navigate dating. And we're in a different world now.
Right,
and I'm curious what that will look like. It frightens me for younger girls because of many reasons, obviously. But even with the systemic protection of Roe v. Wade, I still was coming up against the cultural norms of being a choiceful woman. And
what does that mean? You've had that same right your whole life. And now you're like a Hollywood woman. You're completely mobile. You basically live in the air. That Roe v. Wade thing doesn't affect you whatsoever. You could literally go to Italy. You can go to Brazil and they'll just have it sucked out by hand. An old school vacuum that operates with a crank. Suck that bad boy right out.
Owning my own body and my own choices and what it is that I'm looking for in a relationship and the ability to negotiate in a relationship what it is you want the relationship to be between the two of you, as opposed to what society says it should be.
Well,
and that's different.
I don't know that we're gonna lose that. I think women, we're used to having a say in our lives. And I don't know whether the whole movement is about sort of reharnessing us, you know, whether is it really about.
Yeah, you need to be reharnessed like a horse, like a mule. Put a seat on your back.
About,
and can that really work?
Rights, can that really work now that women are educated and we're being raised differently? I mean, the truth is that fathers are modernized.
That is absolutely true. Fathers are modernized. I thought about this. I caught this years ago, especially as I started, shifting my whole mind, thinking about things through like the masculine red pill sort of lens. And I was thinking about how like even Biggie Smalls, he had this one line years ago. And it was like his famous first single, Juicy. And he had this one line, remember that song, It Was All a Dream? I used to read Word Up magazine, right? At some point in that song, he says, get my daughter this college plan so she don't need no man. And I was, as I, thought back on the song, I was like, wow, that is actually the deadly trap right there. That's the modern father. Get my daughter this college plan so she don't need no man. I remember somebody on a panel somewhere on YouTube asked me about like my daughter. We were having a conversation about girls' sports and the whole transgender thing. And I was obviously against the whole thing, but then somebody asked me about, my daughter's going to college and playing ball. And I'm like, listen, I don't want my daughters going to college playing ball. The absolute dream I have for my daughters is for them to marry well and have a quiet, happy life. But dads aren't supposed to have dreams for their daughters. That's old school. Now we got modern dads, get your daughter a college plan so she don't need a man and shit.
Right. I mean,
mostly
they are, and if you were to ask the average man, how are you raising your daughter? Because you love her. The average father that loves their daughter wants them to be excellent, and they want them to have opportunity and freedom. I mean, when you think about.
You say opportunity and freedom, and I'm just like, I don't really know. I got a boy here. I got a boy. He's gonna be a man one day. He needs a lot of opportunities and he needs a lot of freedom, The girls, not so much. Give girls a lot of opportunities and freedom and they become 52-year-old thirst traps. Not so much. I don't know if I want that.
about who you don't want your daughter saddle marrying some guy that chose her because he just didn't think about anything else
and who believes that her body is his choice.
Exactly. So
Yeah. Look at the big homunculus nigga in the middle here, just nodding and agreeing, just being the feminine penis in the room. Shout out to True Hype with the $2 super chat. Third wheel in this chat between ladies is wild. He really didn't need to be there. He could have phoned this one in. They should have had him on a laptop screen or something like that. He doesn't actually have to be here. They should have had another. You know who they should have had in this conversation? A fat black woman. I feel like he's taking a job from a fat black woman. Could have had what's that chick? She had a talk show. I forget her name anyway. It doesn't matter. Any BBW would have done.
I don't think a lot of leaders are thinking about that. You
Yeah,
know?
well, and they haven't been asked to, because I think it's not always a context that if it's an area that you don't have to think into,
Right.
But I think there is it is a genuine regular thought process for me. It's one of the reasons, I mean, we've talked about this, that often I date younger men. And a lot of it is because
Let's stop on that, folks.
Oh my God, we had a great dinner.
Why is Michelle snapping? Because her single friend is basically getting like young, fresh dick. Why does that make you snap fingers? Like, you're a married woman. Why? Do you snap at every new dick she gets? I mean, the relationship that women have is such a weird one. I don't really want to try to understand it. I'm just gonna look at it and mock it from a distance because this is odd. And then the dude in the middle just, you might as well be the gay best friend, bro. We will respect you more in this conversation if you were the gay best friend. Because outside of being the gay best friend, you have no role here. You have no place here, bro. This is just odd for you being here, watching these girls celebrate the carousel. And he's just like, yeah, girl, you hop on it. There's 3 snaps for you.
We had a great dinner, by the way, where across the table, your husband goes, but why? And I said, well, maybe because I can.
Yes. Preach.
Did you just talk shit to the ex-president in his house? I don't want to be the first black president if I can't just, like, bully a random bitch every now and then. Like, nah, you don't get to be talking crazy to me in my house. I don't care if we're not in the White House. This is still the Black House, and I will throw you out. It's like Jazzy Jeffs. I will throw you the fuck out of here.
And a lot of it is because...
Let's stop on that, folks.
Oh my God, we had a great dinner. We had a great dinner, by the way, where across the table, your husband goes, but why? And I said, well, maybe because I can.
Yes. Preach. This is what I'm saying. Tales from Tracy's.
It's fun. It's very fun to share.
Tracy tale.
But
I'm sorry.
But one of the reasons, though, that because I had to ask myself that question, I was like, what is this about?
Yeah.
Because I want a partner. And so often, and it's not just that I'm older, I'm also very embodied.
Be careful of the term partner. Because generally speaking, unless you specifically work out a numerical relationship, partnership, it kind of intimates equality. It denotes equality. And equality with your woman is almost it's basically gay. Which is interesting, actually, because this is the whole thrust of the conversation, is to set men up for a a more progressive, less rigid, less traditionally masculine, more gay-friendly approach to relationships. Why do you need a gay-friendly approach to heterosexual relationships? I have no idea, but these things come up.
Because I had to ask myself that question. I was like, what is this about?
Yeah.
Because I want a partner. And so often, and it's not just that I'm older, I'm also very embodied. I am a full, very whole person who knows myself.
Embodied means somebody hit them corners and she's full now. She's full. Somebody got all the way in there and she's finally full and she knows what it's like. And she can never forget that feeling.
Who is in charge of my life and who lives a very full, just robust life. So it's not just age, it's like life experience and sort of a difference. But I had to ask myself the question, why? Why does this keep sort of coming up other than they're hot and gorgeous?
There's that.
There's that. But a lot of men my age are steeped in a toxic masculinity and have been raised in a culture where there is a particular way that a relationship looks. And anything that starts to smell of that for me, I did enough of it.
Yeah.
Now understand what she's attempting to express here and extrapolate by infinity, right? This is how women have broken relationships. This is how women have destroyed the traditional concept of relationships. The very idea of relationships are being destroyed because we're finding out it's basically an all or nothing principle. Either we have something that is more or less like relationships that since forever, or we're just having sex in the meantime. Modern relationships are basically sex in the meantime. And then you mess around and make a baby or two, and then it gets all permanently complicated.
Where I was controlled and felt like I was a possession, or whatever those things were, or prize, and I have no interest in it, and I will not do it again.
I'm sorry.
No,
Craig.
I was going to say, it's a generational thing. So it didn't matter how you met them, or is it just kind of the guys you're meeting?
That's obviously
Too big of a
it's
generalization.
a generalization, but because I have dated men my age, there is a difference. There is an openness that occurs with a younger man around whether it's gender fluidity or not even having an issue with homosexuality. I mean,
why would you need that in your heterosexual relationship? And it's this weird psychological duality that a lot of women kind of lock themselves into. You want him to be tough, but you want him to act like a little punk with you. You want him to be getting money, but you want him to spend all his time with you. You want him to be a man, but you want him to be gay friendly too. These are like extreme contradictions here, and then we have to just pull the cat out of the bag and put this on the table in front of everyone. This is why people are low-key revolting, not only against like the Democrat Party, but like Hollywood, like actors. Acting as a profession, I think, is at an all-time low if you want to like get into popularity numbers or whatever. And so because actors live in this world of freak offs and casual relationships, and nobody actually means what they say or whatever, they then get on these these platforms. They get up on the mountain and try to preach down to the average person about how things are supposed to be. And it's like, what do you know about relationships? You lived on the casting couch. You had hippie sex in a dark room full of strangers.
Something as basic as
Right,
that.
yeah.
That there's
No, I
times
hear you.
where I'll be, sitting across the table from somebody and just like, what did you just say?
Yeah, what century are you?
Like, oh my God.
Where's your horse and buggy?
Yeah, like, I'm so sorry.
And your bedpan.
Yeah, for real.
Chamber pot.
Yeah,
Your
your
chamber
chamber
pot.
pot. Your chamber pot. Like, where I'm just like, yeah, this is not a match.
Yeah.
And I have long been past the age where I feel like it's my job to teach somebody or grow them up.
Yeah.
That I'm not interested in. So, but it's interesting.
That's a very arrogant position too. You think that you have this brand new, undiscovered until now neo knowledge. And if you know the guy you're with, he doesn't understand the logical validity of the homosexual equation, and you're like, oh, I used to try to teach this to you. I would have explained this to you, but I'm getting old and I just don't have the time now. Just a weird, arrogant position. You don't want to share your gay math secrets with us?
I mean,
Fine.
there's so many different philosophies on dating, and I have come up with mine. I have come up with what works for me and what makes sense for me and what feels safe for me.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm not on dating apps. I have friends that have great success with dating apps, but that's just not something I'm comfortable
So
with.
you're meeting folks in the wild then.
That's the only way for me, or someone sets me up, or
Okay.
I meet them at an event. I meet someone. It's usually people that also have a level of recognition that they, you know, have as much to lose as me to a certain extent.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't had great luck lately, but I do have to say I'm moving up on what it is that I'm looking for as a match.
Those sound like struggling cope words. You haven't had great luck, but you're moving up on what it is you're looking for. Those are cope words. Those are words that do not convey any specific intention or reality. Just hopeful words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had some doozies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just, I just love watching your life because you were modeling so many things, the next phase, how many versions of ourselves we can become at all ages in life.
How is she the next phase? Is she your next phase? Are you going to leave Barack and start thotting it around at the UN? Going to be giving it up to world leaders or whatever? I mean, technically, that's probably impossible, but still.
You know, and how to build the life you want.
Yes.
Not the life that somebody told you you were supposed to have. And let me tell you, I told you this about the girls, and Tracy, just like, you know, she mentors the girls. She's always there for them. But trying to make sure that
So you're a married woman, and the mentor for your girls is an unmarried, unmothered, lifelong, free-spirited thought. You were almost better off like making your quasi-gay brother the mentor.
I am not subconsciously sending them these messages about what their life should look like. Even like when you ask, are you dating anyone? I mean, that's something that we ask young people in their 20s. You know, the whole thing about weddings, you know.
We talk a lot about that.
Yeah, it's just like the pre-proposal and the bachelorette and the pre-honeymoon and then the 3 wedding dresses and you know, have you thought about
the amount of money,
your 32 list items of who you want?
Don't worry, young guys don't even want to get married anymore. It's pretty much a dub.
Want to marry, or are you more busy picking out your photographer?
Yeah, it's interesting, that whole, I hope that is starting to dissipate culturally.
So.
I really do. I think social media is perpetuating some of those things in a really big way. But I did dream of my wedding growing up. And that's not to say that I didn't dream of the bigness of my life, but I could have spent a lot more time dreaming of my life. And you know, as much as grief does surface for me around not having children and not having a partner, I still wouldn't want the wrong partner.
That's a great point for people to hear.
I'm not interested in that. You have to make my life better. It can't just be, you know, I'm in a relationship to be in a relationship. So even though the grief does emerge and that comes.
How is a guy supposed to make your life better? Like, what is he supposed to do to make your life better? He's going to make you younger?
And I hold that. I think of what I've done, and I think of, I woke up every morning trying to do my best. I didn't wake up one morning and be like, I'm going to mess this day up.
That's right.
So I must be where I'm supposed to be. And I don't know. Sometimes I think of all of the things I've done, the courage that I've had to have, and what I've had to learn how to navigate as a single person with no one to hide behind.
Yeah.
Being a single woman takes courage. And it's a weird way to describe married women. Like your husband is the guy you hide behind or something like that. There was a conference recently, I think it was called like NatalCon or something like that. You know, like natalism, the idea of, birthing the next generation and whatnot. It's a bunch of white guys, right wingers. But one of the idea behind it all is that there is no culture of family or motherhood in the country anymore. And so they were kind of just talking about that from different angles. I think Sargon was there. A bunch of people, a bunch of, the white right wing. And we kind of shifted the culture over the years from mothers being a celebrated figure to mothers being sort of secondary. You can be a mom, kind of, but don't just be a mom. Like, you better get out there and go crush it, girl. You can have your baby, put that little bastard in daycare or something. You go back out there and you crush it again. And one of the things that really is just on a fundamental, like, nuclear level, it's like having one of your mitochondria go bad on you or something. But shifting women away from focusing on motherhood to focusing on anything else, focusing on themselves, for God's sake, that is like a poison pill.
And it's built a really beautiful experience around me. And I have incredible friends.
You do.
Well, this is a good segue to get to our question,
let's do
especially the talking about dating and meeting people. And we have a great question. So Natalie, our producer, is going to read the question for. Make sure your mic works over there. Is it working?
I think we're good.
All right.
Yeah, we're good.
I'm excited.
Hi, Michelle and Craig. My name is Ronan, and I'm 41 years old. I've got a question about that big, frustrating topic, dating. More accurately, I should say, how not to date. Let me explain. Throughout my 30s, I was in and out of relationships. One was very fruitful. It lasted several years, but in various respects of our lives, the timing just did not align, so we ended up splitting up. Since then, I've found myself in relationships that have been very clearly unsuccessful.
Michelle Obama really has a relationship show. Because that's what the community needs, though. In a weird way, it makes perfect sense, right? I think about this a lot. Like, one of the main kinds of media, it's like one of the primary kinds of Black media is like relationship content. And from like an emotional, psychological perspective, I really do think it's like a weird collective cry for help, or at least an attempt to solve a fundamental issue, which is everybody kind of understands that relationships are supposed to work differently, but nobody can get them to work properly. And so we just keep having these podcasts kind of talking about the ins and outs of it all, just indefinitely, incessantly. And it's all kind of like just psychologically amusing when I kind of look at the totality of it. It's like all the lonely Black people.
One woman's creative and professional interests totally matched mine, but we fought constantly. Then I was with a woman who was great. Our leisure interests were similar. Her family was great, but I was just not that into it. Something was missing. Most recently, I ended up in a longer-term relationship that my friends at least would call toxic. We had great chemistry, and I was really in love with her. But she struggled with sustained intimacy after a recent divorce. And as a result, I got myself caught in a pretty regular cycle of hurt. Since then, my dating has been...
These are very, very vague terms. I hate people who write and type and talk like this. Just tell me what it is. Stop being all colorful. she struggled with sustained intimacy. Did she cheat on you? Did she stop having sex with you? She didn't want to give you blowjobs? What the hell are you talking about?
A mess. I've been distracted by women I simply find attractive, but who otherwise clearly are not a match. And in the meantime, I still find myself thinking about my last relationship. So this brings me back to the start of my question. My closest friends are telling me the one thing I need now is to not date. They tell me if I can figure out how to be happy on my own, I'll have a better chance of finding happiness with someone else. The thing is, I am not totally convinced by this. I enjoy dating, but I also understand that what I'm doing clearly is not working. So what in the world would you say to a guy like me? Are my friends right? Should I try to enter into a period of being single by choice? How could I actually benefit from being single if I ultimately really want a partner? And
none of your guy friends would give you advice about going into inceldom. None of your guy friends are going to be like, hey, listen, you should just stop getting laid for a while. This sounds like a letter written by a woman pretending to be a man. No group of guys, there's not one guy in your friend circle who would be like, you know what the solution is? No bitches. Like, what the hell kind of friend are you? Nigga, are you gay? Like, what the kind of advice this nigga trying to give? We should beat this nigga up. You hear this type of shit this nigga talking? Like, there's not one guy in your entire circle of guys who thinks the solution to any life problem is no bitches. The hell kind of nigga?
family. And if it is helpful, what tips do you have to help me put this period of non-dating into practice and to make it stick? Thanks for your advice, Ronan.
It's a great question.
Yeah. And it's interesting coming from a 40-ish man.
Yeah, I like it.
Because men can marry when they choose to, just like
well, yeah,
you did.
I thought that was so interesting what you said. When you asked Craig that question, I think it's timing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That when a guy feels they're ready, then who's
They
in
just
front of you.
pick. Right.
Which is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
So crazy.
It is crazy.
And then it
Just
takes your second marriage to figure out
Yeah.
you need to be discerning.
And for some,
You know why I think men can just like pick the way she said it, kind of shocked? I think men, when we pick a woman outside of the emotions and all that, because, you know, men have feelings and love and all, you know, you get all gay for your girlfriend and shit. But I think what happens with men, though, we kind of just settle in with the pluses and the minuses. You know, we actually accept the chick for whoever she is and be like, all right, this is her. This is the job I expect her to do. I kind of got a reasonable suspicion she'll do the job for the most part. You know, she's a little retarded though, but, you know, it's not that hard of a job either. And then guys just lock in, you know, we pick. Women think there's this endless equation of love and testimonials and unicorns and fluttering butterflies that never leave your stomach and all. And you're making it too complicated. That's why nobody likes you.
some people like
I
they
know,
don't
I
or
know.
fourth, or they never figure it out.
I know.
It's just like
I know.
Fascinating.
My technique for the second one I thought was pretty good.
I think that is really, I thought that was really helpful for other people to hear. The other thing I'm curious is that cultural that men, it's timing? Or is it, I don't know, it's just nature or nurture?
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of it is cultural, right? We grow up waiting to be chosen, you know? At the school dance, you don't get to dance, or at least in our generation, you didn't get to dance if somebody didn't ask you to dance.
And then if you are the chooser, then men are like, you're aggressive.
Oh my gosh, there wasn't any choosing.
Well, now for my generation.
Yeah.
Or, I don't
Yeah, y'all are kind of old. Do they even have like school dances anymore? Or do the kids just like all sit in the gym on their iPads? Everything's different now.
I don't even know my generation for me.
Yeah.
Can I give you just a little bit of a different thought process behind it?
Oh shit, he's about to be a dude. He's gonna say some guy things. Hold up. Hold on. Let me take a swig. We gotta take it. I gotta pour a drink. He's about to say some guy things. This nigga just woke up from his slumber and shit, like Rip Van Winkle. All right, say some guy things. Let's go.
That's why you're here.
Imagine as a 17-year-old and you're walking into a sock hop, which I just use for effect, but a dance,
but there are a lot
party.
of kids going.
Goddamn sock hop. Jesus. Y'all are not technically that much older than me, but you sound like you're from another planet. Like you're from just a completely different old-timey era. Like the world was in black and white, and then your husband became president.
On what is
What's
that?
What are your socks have to do with anything?
Yeah. You go, but we used to have these sock hops, or it's a school dance. So imagine you're 17 years old, and there's a bunch of girls in there, and you go ask somebody to dance, and they say no, thank you.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah,
Heartbreaking.
And then you go to ask the next person, and they say no, thank you.
Oh no, I don't like this.
Now you know. Black culture, totally. We actually worked that problem out in Black culture. I realized looking back that there was just a simple kind of etiquette's not really the right word because sniggers, but there was a kind of order to how you work that out in Black culture. You see, all you do is you just come up behind a girl and just kind of start dancing. And then, you dance like on her, you make a little physical contact so she know you back there, whatever. And then, she look back, she gives you the check. And if you good, she put her ass on your chest. And then, might make a baby next year. We had this all worked out. This sounds like you're talking about white culture, low-key.
But that's how it was.
Yeah, that's hard. That's very
how
hard.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
So the question you have to ask yourself as a guy is, do I just take what I have, or do I take the chance of asking the next person and they say no?
Yeah, the courage. Yeah.
That's
and
that's real.
Yeah,
it's real. So
it's an important perspective for sure.
Yes.
And it is hard, but ultimately you choose, right? It's scary, but so imagine the girl who is standing in the same sock hop with her shoes off now, all embarrassed because she's standing in her socks.
Waiting to put up with.
I have 4 siblings.
Waiting to be.
They really talking like they were white kids in the 50s. You went to a sock hop, like, excuse me, Linda, would you mind dancing with me? Really? Really? Where did you guys grow up? I thought you were from Chicago, Michelle. I would almost tolerate a story like that from Barack, because he was raised by his white family halfway, so he might have, he might have white genetics activated in him. But you from Chicago, you and your brother. This quasi-homosexual talk about sock hops and shit. What are we doing? Oh my God. And you just had to do a podcast after the White House. This was your thing, huh? It was your time to shine. Shout out to True Hype with the $10 super chat. While you speak on community relationships, I think about the scene where Morpheus points up and says, it's unknown who struck first. It's known that humans were responsible for the sky being scorched. I know where you're going. Yeah, we don't know who started the gender war, but we know it was the men who hit the button and nuked all these bitches. We don't know who started this shit, but we know the men nuked this place. That sounds about right, True Hype. That sounds about right. We don't know who started the gender war, but we know eventually the men are just going to nuke everything. Just going to nuke it all to hell.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Hit the like button, y'all. Thanks for the $10 cash app. Yo, be like True Hype for me. Smash that cash app button, y'all. Smash the super chat button. I got so in the habit of saying that. I got to break that habit. Hulk! Smash!
smash you! Yeah! You make Hulk angry! You not like Hulk angry! Hulk no like fighting girls.
Asked, and people are just passing her by, and there are a bunch of shy boys not even trying.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a guy can decide that the decision is still a man's to make.
Right.
No, is it though always? I just think culturally that is what we say. Yes.
I think culturally that
Tracy out here making decisions. Tracy is out in the game making dick decisions, all right? She is a boss out here making big time dick decisions.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
The original question was,
yes,
is it nature or nurture? I think a lot of it is the culture that gives that power.
I agree.
To men. Now, it's a difficult power to have because with power comes responsibility and hurt and risk and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But, even to this day, as you said, Tracy, if a woman crosses that dance floor to ask, she's aggressive. It's an unattractive quality. So now I either wait to dance or I don't dance at all.
I don't necessarily.
It's not unattractive. Women don't have the concept of game. It's like how would a fish know how to fish? You know what I mean? Women just don't have the concept in them. And so what winds up happening is when you try to force an issue and you don't really have like the skills to do it, it will come off as clumsy and awkward. And women in those moments of being clumsy and awkward, they're extremely vulnerable. They may as well be naked in that moment. And so it kind of crushes them internally. The problem in this context is, though, this is just the world that men live in, and you just have to push through. The only way out of awkward is through, and then eventually you get to the other side. You find your feet again. But women, they can't really. They struggle.
I agree with that.
Okay.
And I also would say, as a boy or a young man, if a woman walked across the floor and asked me to dance, it was no way I was going to say no.
Well, I think obviously there's all different kinds of people.
Yes.
There's all different kinds. I mean, and then we're not even entering into the gender fluidity within this conversation.
Absolutely. You're right.
That is so much a part of what the younger generation.
We was just talking about boys and girls getting together, and here you go, had to make it gay. Why'd you have to go make it gay? Why'd you have to go make things so complicated? It's hard enough for the boys and the girls to get together as it is, and now you're like, well, they be doing gay stuff too. Like, no, just stop. Don't even mention that. Just let the gays figure their own lives out. We're trying to do straight things over here.
Generation is making sense of, and I think they're actually doing that really beautifully.
I do too.
And I've learned so much from the gender conversation and how it's expanded. I've learned so much about myself and what are the expectations that I didn't know were expectations about being a woman that I'm like, oh, I don't need to own that because I just thought that was a given, but now I know it's not, But I think the societal norm, yes. I mean, I had a guy say to me recently, you can't make a man do anything he doesn't want to do. But culturally, you can make a woman do a lot of things she doesn't want to do because we're trained.
In what way? Name the things. I need you to name the things because I can name the things you can make a man do that he doesn't want to do, all right? There's child support, there's alimony, conscription in the draft, forced diversity meetings at work. There are a bunch of things. There's DV courses mandated by the court. There are all kinds of things you can make a man do. Yeah, look. Listening to you talk on and on, right? It really is the little things in life that drive you crazy the most.
And culturally, to acquiesce in that way, that that's our role, that we are. But I mean, this guy, Ronan, I love the question because first of all, what I'll say to Ronan is no one knows you better than you.
That's right.
And your friends can have all the suggestions in the world. And some of them might be helpful ones and some of them might be ones you want to consider.
Yeah.
Who in the hell actually wants relationship advice from Michelle Obama, her brother, or Tracy? Like, why would you want relationship advice from any of these people? Especially as a man. Why would a man, this is why I know it had to be a woman pretending to be a man who actually wrote the letter. Why would a dude ask Michelle Obama for relationship advice? Even if he was gay, even if you were a proud gay man, why would you need her help? Just none of this makes sense. This whole show, you know what? I think all of her views are like CIA views. I think all of her viewership counts are from like weird countries around the world. This total CIA op right here. This has got to be the CIA.
Yeah. And then I think the thing that you have to do is ask yourself, does that feel right for me? Does that really feel like what's going to get the growth to happen?
Yeah.
And sometimes not dating helps people discover that. And sometimes dating is the thing that helps people discover that.
Well, and it's interesting when I think, to your point, Craig, when you were, you had your 32 list item.
Did you just give both sides of the answer? She was like, look, sometimes you got to date. Sometimes you got to not date. No, it's totally, why the hell am I asking you questions? Why does anybody ask women questions, bro?
That was all about Kelly, right? I mean, and that's sometimes what we do. Forget you.
Yep.
I think that's what a lot of people do. It's like there's a list of things that I need in the other person,
Right.
And and some of them, a lot of them are superficial, like height and career and income and what school you went to, right? But it's all about the other person meeting a checklist. What Ronan's friends are suggesting, and what I agree on, is like, okay, there's that list about the other person, but what's your list? What is your 32-point list about yourself that you need to explore? And
why is it 32? You have a list of 32 things that you need to be like relationship happy? You know, it's really like it's impolite, I guess. It's definitely, you know, out of fashion. It's not really the thing people do. But when we talk about the gender war, most people, they make at least attempts, if not, you know, just full on, you know, Bigfoot the issue and put their foot on the scale. But a lot of people try to both sides the gender war issue. There are a good amount of people who blame men. You know, the only way to try to fix it is to do something with men. They want to fix men or whatever. But I just been kind of firm in this position since I've taken a really ice cold, frank look at the whole thing. I blame the women. This is totally the women's fault. This is all the women's fault. Who else can we blame here? Listen to this shit.
All about the other person meeting a checklist. What Ronan's friends are suggesting, and
you have to meet a 32 bullet checklist. What man can pass a 32 bullet checklist just randomly? You got to literally build the nigga from the ground up. There is no nigga, and there's no man in the history of men who can live up to what any random 32-point checklist that a woman creates. You got to build them from the ground up. You know what? Actually, you know how Hollywood is recreating all of the old movies from back in the day, and then they put a chick in it and make it gay? You know what they need to do? They need to make Weird Science for lonely bitches. They need to remake Weird Science with two ugly, nerdy, lonely bitches. It might as well be Michelle Obama and what's her name? Matter of fact, you know what it'll be? It should be Issa Rae and Tracy Ellis Ross, right? They should make Weird Science, And then you get to Build-A-Bear your own guy, and then we watch how the whole thing turns to shit. That's the only way to get the 32-point list out. You got to weird science this nigga.
What I agree on is like, okay, there's that list about the other person, but what's your list? What is your 32-point list about yourself that you need to explore? And I think a lot of men
don't.
And I hate to generalize like that, but you know, so many women are self-reflective in our groups. We live in conversation. We live in a social world where we're constantly
live in conversation. That sounds like hell. That really sounds like hell. And you know, I am a guy that technically talks for a hobby, almost kind of for a living. We'll see how it goes. But live in conversation sounds like hell. You know, somebody was making a post about like guys going to the barbershop on Twitter, on X recently. And I pointed out, and I always go to this Dominican barbershop. I haven't been to a black barbershop in God knows how long, more than 10 years. And at this point, I've been to several different Dominican shops. It was this one Dominican spot. I followed them because they moved a couple of times. I think they just moved too far. But I'd only go to the Dominicans. And one thing I like about being in the Dominican spot, even though I can barely understand a little bit of Spanish, I can get by if you say it slow enough. When I go in the barbershop, I don't say a word. I spend like an hour, 45 minutes, however long I'm sitting in that chair, and I'm damn near mute, and it's glorious. It's a beautiful time in my life. It's like serenity. I feel like I'm in a little rock garden. I feel like I'm in one of those Japanese gardens. I'm just meditating, thinking about Zen and bonsai. But women apparently live in conversation. I couldn't imagine this kind of concept. I can't even fathom such
analyzing ourselves and each other in our conversations. This is the dialogue of women, and men aren't doing that as much. I think the younger generation is doing it more.
Yeah, I do see a lot more of it. I see a lot of it online, and I really celebrate it. I think it's beautiful to see men have these deeper conversations about who they are and what they want. But the norm is no. And then the other thing to me is the invitation, right? It's like, yes, that's the cultural norm, but the invitation is really to remind everyone, men and women.
Nah, it's not the Puerto Ricans, bro. It's the Dominicans, man. I could blend in with the Dominicans. I'm too dark to be a Puerto Rican. They're going to spot me immediately.
To take into account who they are and what is important to you. You know, is somebody's height the most important thing to you? And why?
Why?
Is it because of what other people see, or is it because of you? You know what I mean? Like, what is it? And I think those reflective questions not only help you in dating, they just help you in life.
So let's help Ron. What are some of these questions he should be asking himself?
Well, you know, just like in developing your life, when I talk to young people, it's like, who do you want to be? What do you care about? And not what do you want to do, not what title.
You know what? Literally shaking. I actually did see that. It was like a little TikTok video thing, but so I actually saw the visual of it, which you need to see the visual to make the joke really punch. But in Chinese, there is a word for women. There's a character, rather, because you know Chinese written language is characters. It's like hieroglyphics or something. But there is a character for women, and the way I guess the Chinese language works is for certain symbols are like compound symbols, right? So you can add 2 or 3 symbols together to make a different word that is essentially the melding of these ideas. And the character in Chinese for women is just this one particular symbol. But if you take the symbol and it's like 1 on the top and then 2 directly under it, like in a pyramid or something like that, the symbol now, instead of 3 women, it becomes the symbol for noisy. So basically, the symbol for noisy in Chinese is 3 women. It's literally a hieroglyphic.
You want to have, but how do you want to show up in the world? What's important important to you? Is it kindness? Is it empathy?
Is it money?
Is it money? Yeah, for some people it is. For some people it's security, financial security. Some it's emotional security.
Is it important for honesty?
Yeah. For me, for example, like I knew that.
All right, what the hell is this dude over here writing down? Why is he taking notes? What the hell is going on? That brother Obama over here, his name's not even Obama. His name is like Johnson or Richard, whatever the hell Michelle's name was before she got married. It's like Robert or something. But what is the Obama-in-law over here doing? Like, why are you taking notes? What is deep about this conversation that you have to write things down?
You date enough people, you date people that just cheat. Right. Yeah, and one thing I learned, luckily I learned it soon. I realized that cheating, if I was dating a cheater, that had nothing to do with me.
And the nigga barely even talks. Like, I gotta read his contract. Like, what is your job? Like, bruh, we got to do the office space thing on him. Like, so what is it you say you do around here, bruh? Like, why are you even in this? Michelle could have had this conversation. It could have been her and just conversations with random chicks from Hollywood and politics, and boom, that's the show. And it would have been all right. It would have been cool. I think the reason why this thing didn't pop the way it's supposed to pop is because every time you turn it on, you got this weird-looking black guy in the background, just this brown homunculus back here, just writing stuff down, just making weird noises while the women are talking.
Because, like, I am not inherently a cheater or a liar. I mean, I would rather just look somebody in the face and say, we should break up because I'm thinking about dating somebody else. And I'm not going to hold you hostage while I go experience stuff. So I had to pick somebody who had the same values about that as I do, right? I didn't want to be married or date somebody that I have to worry about who you texting, what's on your phone, where did you go?
Trust is not an
trust
anchor.
is not there. And
she trying to say Barack wasn't getting no bitches when you met him. Is that what you trying to tell me? Barack wasn't getting no bitches when you met him? That's why. She really low-key be shitting on Barack. She really low-key just be like turning the knife. I don't even know how conscious she is of it. This might be a really deep subconscious resentment that's just pouring out. It's just oozing out of her pores. Like, she just can't help but to just low-key just one up the dude every time. Like, I just had to make sure when I was dating, when I got married, I had to marry the type of man who ain't getting no bitches. And so me and Barack been married for like the last 20-something years now. Like, whoa.
Because it was important to them, not because it was important to me.
That they were the same.
That they had the same quality. That was way more important to me than what career, because I had dated people who were broken, in my opinion, broken in that way. And it's like, that's not fun to me, guessing whether my partner is faithful. Like, some people are good with that game.
Yes. Some people that engages their chemistry. I don't know. Yeah. And I have no judgment, really. Like, there's things for people. Everybody has different values around those things and what's important. Some people don't want deep conversation.
Yeah.
Some people, that is not their thing. It feels invasive. It feels uncomfortable. Some people do, I also think
most chicks don't really do deep conversation, bro. And you know what? I'm kind of low-key a deep conversation type of guy. And so that's just it's a thing I've noticed. Most chicks, deep conversation ain't gonna get you no pussy, bro.
For Ronan, I have come to really know that there's a big difference in somebody that I am looking at dating as a partner and somebody that's somebody to enjoy and take what I like and leave the rest.
Yeah.
And I learned as I've gotten older, like chemistry is not a relationship. And love,
say that again.
Chemistry is not a relationship.
Yes.
And love does not always include chemistry.
Yes.
And I'm somebody who wants both. Now, everybody's not like that. Some people are really don't want a sort of the passionate chemistry of, intimate, physical energy. That's not their thing.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be in a relationship with somebody who that's
the majority of women's version of deep conversation. This is a perfect example of it, by the way, is that right there, talking about relationships and feelings.
And a chemistry of, intimate, physical energy. That's not their thing.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be in a relationship with somebody who that's one of the ways they communicate love. Like, for example, I have male friends.
This is definitely going to sound counterintuitive, but this is why we're here. This is what we do here. Women's obsession with love kills love. Yeah, roll that around in your mind a little bit. No, trust me, I've done this 1,000 times. It only sounds crazy the first time. Women's obsession with love kills love. Yeah. How am I supposed to love you when you're so fucking crazy?
I have one that we literally text and it's not flirting and it's all clothes and fashion and shopping.
All
and
clothes.
It's like a version of a relationship.
Yeah.
He's the sexiest little thing. He's young.
Yeah.
There's never been anything physical, but we have this amazing like exchange that happens
and I
all
don't
the time.
have that with my husband.
No.
I that sounds fun.
But that's fun, right? It's like so fun. And I'm single. Then I have a friend I go to the movies with. You know what I mean? And then there's people that and obviously if I end up in a relationship with someone, those probably will not continue.
Yeah.
Those different things. But my friendships will continue because you also can't expect your partner to be everything.
That's right.
All right. So this is perfect. So, how do we help Ronan become a better subject for women?
Carmen, did you think about it a little bit?
How do we help him make himself into a more attractive?
Well, I think he sounds like he's attractive. He's having no problems dating. So what I'll say,
but he's not. It's not sticking.
But it's not him. It's y'all. And here's another example. The same thing keeps popping up. Everybody wants to fix men. Nobody wants to fix women. Are women unfixable? I refuse to believe women are unfixable. I have great faith in this pimp hand. There ain't a woman out here that this pimp hand can't fix, guys.
But that could be timing.
That could be timing.
Okay.
That could be him. That could be him just not choosing. He may not be ready to really settle down. Or
the other big thing I'm going to say, look, I'm 52. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Well, this program is it's in my opinion. You don't have to know. We just have our deeply held opinions about Ronan's life.
Exactly. But this is what I'm saying. I might not meet a partner.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm saying.
Yeah. Right.
You're going to be riding the carousel forever and ever. You're just going to be riding it until one day you just fall off and you just can't get back on it. You're just going to fall off the carousel and you're going to be like, help, I've fallen and I can't get up. And the carousel is going to keep going around without you. And then that's when you're officially old.
Like, I know there's this assumption, right? And the assumption is if you don't, there's something wrong with you. I don't agree.
I agree with you not agreeing with
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I'm just like, no, I don't, no.
Right.
I am a great match and a great catch and all those things, but I also am going to wait for the right person. So
oh my God, this sounds just like that that Saturday night. What was that one Saturday night skit? It's like, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, And gosh darn it, people just like me. Oh, God, so much coke. All the coke. You can hear his broken wrist. You can hear it in his voice that his wrist is broken. It's crazy, right? I called it from jump. And then later on, we found out, he had a wife and a child over the years. And so I was willing to give him the beard credibility, but I called it from jump. Beard or no beard, I called it from jump.
Agree with you, not agreeing with
you know
that.
what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I'm just like, no, I don't, that's no,
Right.
I am a great match and a great catch and all those things, but I also am going to wait for the right person. So to Ronan, I would say, let yourself own the fact.
What's the point of waiting for the right person if you don't get the right person until after you're 52 years old? Who really won? Did you win? Did he win? Like, nobody got your best years. You didn't get anyone else's best years. No one poured into anyone. And here you are now, 52 or beyond, and now you're in love like you've never been in love before. Is that even possible? And this is something I was thinking about earlier, and I'm glad I just remembered this, because this is crazy when you think about it, but it's brutal. And life has patterns and rhythms for a reason. If you're a church going type, every now and then your pastor will hit you with, there's a time for reaping, a time for sowing. You know what I mean? Might come up around a funeral or something, but there are seasons to life. And one thing that I kind of realized in all of my my ghetto niggified wisdom is that love and romance are mostly games for the young. Now, that's not to say that you can't have, love for a woman as you get older. Maybe you can fall in love, whatever that means. But generally speaking, passion, romance, that butterflies in your tummy kind of thing, those are games for the young. And I guess Shakespeare was really right when he said that, 'tis better to have loved and lost to have never loved at all. Because if you haven't really had those things in your 20s, it's rare that you'll get them in your 30s, and it's impossible damn near to bring them back in your 40s. These are really just like season of life type of things. And frankly, at 52, you're just out of season. You're probably not even really good in bed anymore. Like that's really the killer of the 52-year-old thirst trap. And as attractive as it may be, considering 52 years old and all, technically you're probably, pound for pound, like weight wise, you don't weigh more than an average black female 27-year-old, right? But are you really gonna bust it open like you did when you're 27? I mean, come on. You're thirst trapping me with all the energy that you just don't have anymore. Now that I'm looking at this image and I'm saying these words out loud, I can see her looking down at her own body, and it's just not what it used to be. She's looking down at her own box, and she knows it's dying on the inside. She just knows. Gonna have to hook a car battery up to you one day. Just one of these days, I'm just gonna have to figure out where the positive and the negative go, and we're just gonna have to crank this baby back to life. She's just looking down at it in sadness, and you just know. Just gonna have to go get a car battery and just Maybe if you got like some piercings or whatever and can make the connections a lot easier. Shout out to Sir Anthony with the $10 super chat. Forgive me, I was getting a little bit graphic there, man. A little graphic, y'all. We're gonna bring it back. We're gonna bring it back. Shout out to Anthony, man. Be like Anthony. Smash that super chat button for me, y'all.
Hulk! Smash! Smash you! You make Hulk angry! You not like Hulk angry! Hulk no like fighting girls.
Box entropy is a wild concept. Box entropy sounds like something people at the CERN lab should be studying. That's why we're trying to crash subatomic particles together at light speed so we can gain secrets to box empathy. Understand? And we can further understand why these 52-year-old women are thotting it up on the gram all the time.
Fact that you want a relationship and you are going to do all the things you know how to do to walk towards that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't find the right person, it's not a reflection of you.
Yeah.
If you're doing all the right things,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the first thing I would say to Ronan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The second thing is ask yourself the question, is dating helping you get towards what you want? Or is it actually distracting you because there's enough drama that you're not?
I imagine her in this exact pose saying all these words to herself inside of her head. This all this nonstop, just screen of consciousness, crazy talk. But she's taking a photo for Instagram at the same exact time. The mind of women, bro, it's an amazing place. I try to get inside of it every now and then, but I don't stay long because it's contagious. Shout out to True Hype with the $2 super chat. Menopause plus dating equals hell nah. Yeah, it's only for the brave, bro. Only for the brave.
Good women are dead. Evil bitches, rise up!
And you gotta understand, right? By 52. And this is a reality, you know. This is why, you know, the body count thing and all that comes back into play. By 52, you are just another dick with money in a lifetime of different dicks with different amount of money. This one dick had a car. It was a nice car. And this other dick took her out on a helicopter. That was nice. There's this one dick that she went scuba diving with. There's another dick. He took her on a race car drive, you know, 200 miles an hour around the track. That was cool. But at a certain point, to a woman, every man just becomes another dick with money. And you gotta imagine by 52, she's seen lots of dicks with money. How special could you really be to her?
Not having the courage to say, this is what I want. I had a friend who was dating recently, and the guy is out of a divorce and there's just some stuff going on and they really like each other, but he's kind of in a hallway. And she said, which I thought was the most courageous and beautiful thing, why don't you call me when you're out of the hallway?
Yeah.
You know,
when you find a room.
Yeah, when you find a room. And like, if you still think I'm somebody that could be in that room with you, then give me a call. I mean, I said to someone I was dating recently, like, I've come to realize that you are not a loving match for me as much as I love you.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna.
That is a nice cold-blooded cut right there.
See, I'm all like that.
Goddamn gay bestie. If I were the Fuhrer, I would outlaw the gay bestie. I would. If you make me the Führer, by the end of the week, the gay bestie will be outlawed and several will be hanged as an example.
So
I know, right?
True. And Craig's like that. It's Mr. Nice Guy.
I didn't hear from him for a while.
I bet he's still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, well, he made his bed before when he wasn't showing up the way he should have. I gave him enough tries. And the crazy thing is for me, when it takes a lot for somebody to get inside my heart and feel safe. Once you get in there, it's so hard for me to get you out. And I have to really give myself time. And that's the other thing I would say to Ronan about him sort of pining around this old relationship. Remember that in memory, you remember the good stuff.
That's right.
So it's not always the full picture. There's a reason that didn't work, and you can trust that. And the right relationship, there's nothing you can do to make it stop. Like it will.
What's the right relationship? It's been 52 years and you don't know what the right relationship is. Starting to think it's not going to work out for you.
Resurface itself if it's meant to be.
Well, I think that's really great, solid advice. I think there are a lot of people who put too much pressure on trying to find everything in one person. I don't know if that's Ronan's issue. But if it is, I encourage him to, be a little more open and to understand that relationships are.
They've been having like 20 minutes worth of conversation about a fake letter from a made up guy about his fake life. And they're trying to find real solutions for this. The Michelle Obama podcast is an amazing place, bro. This whole thing is imaginary land.
Long, and there are also ebbs and flows, right? So I think sometimes people who date don't realize that, in long-term relationships, you're gonna have deep dips, and you're gonna have
a bad year.
You're gonna have a bad. I tell people, and folks think that this is harsh. It's like you're gonna have a bad decade.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been married to my husband for 30 plus years. I mean, the truth is, if you add it all up, even the year if the odds were,
let me stop you right now. Michelle, please don't say anything disrespectful about Obama. Okay, there's a new TikTok challenge we're trying. All right, don't say anything disrespectful about your current husband, the former first Black president. Not just the city, of the world, though. He was like the baddest nigga in the whole wide world. Do me a favor and don't say anything weirdly challenging to his image, okay?
You're going to be married to your partner for 50 years, and 10 of those years could be bad.
You'd sign up for it.
You'd sign up for it.
You'd sign up for it.
Right. And that's really how it works out.
That's the reality of it.
The reality is that if you choose to have a traditional.
She cut it close. But I think we made it. But she low key, she previously mentioned those years where she hated Obama, but I feel like she tucked it in at the last minute.
Marriage, and you
she's used to tucking it in, though. She's an expert at tucking it in, by the way.
Have kids. Let me tell you, the years of 1 to 13 will be bad for you as an adult, because it's beautiful, but they'll take you for a loop, and you love them, and you don't want to hate them because they're cute. So you're going to be mad at the person who is sitting next to you, the other adult.
The one who helped you make it.
The one who helped you make it, So
you know what? I take it back. She's about to run the table. She hated the kids. She hated Obama. She hated everything. And then she became the first lady. And so she's not so mad no more. Damn it.
That accounts for just a decade, right? I think people don't think about that as they date because they're trying to find the match that where all those 30 years are going to be blissful.
Yeah, well, that's crazy.
And it's like, that's just not going to happen.
Can I just ask what some of the 32 things on the list were?
Yes.
Of the questions?
Yes, you can. Yes,
is that okay? Is that okay? Is that valid?
It's okay.
Is that a valid question?
So
You're okay to answer that?
That is so good.
It is good. It is good. You just
it might help Ronan.
It might help Ronan
and me.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what they were.
So
what was item 30?
So
Tracy is not looking for a man. I need you to stop that. You do not want help. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved.
I guarantee you, Kelly still has the list.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We should get her on the phone.
It was significant, but she has this one thing that I didn't have on my list, but I would put on my list now is are you comfortable with me being able to stand alone in a room?
Joy, say that again.
Are you comfortable with me being able to stand alone in a room? So to your point, you have this full life and you have this aura about you that if we're going somewhere, and the same with you, we go into a room, we might not be right next to each other.
We're not going to be couple to couple.
We're not going to be couple to couple.
You go one
Are you
in.
okay with me standing alone? Because I can stand alone. I was like, oh, okay.
I love that question.
So that was her question to you, or your question to her?
That was one of her questions to me.
It's a great question.
That was the one that was not a category.
I'm gonna throw that at one of the people I'm dating right now.
Yes.
Thinking, look out, Mr. Whoever you are.
That sounds like some upper class, we go to dinner parties type stuff. I need you to come to this office event with me.
It's so important to me, especially the way my family is, for you to be able to stand alone. So that's a great one.
Yeah.
And then there were sort of
that's a really good one.
I love that question.
And then the one that we spent the most time on were, what are your deal breakers? What is it that you can absolutely not stand, so I can make sure that none of them are like my favorite thing to do?
Yeah, that's really smart.
Yeah. And I will tell you, this was
I just like the way you put it, though, because, it's sort of innocently sweet and it's not so hard over the head. Like, can you stand alone in a room?
That's why I like the question, because I would ask that all wrong.
Right. That's just the thing.
I would ask that.
Are you an insecure, trifling ass?
That is exactly right.
Are you so insecure?
Yeah.
That you can't handle
uncomfortable with my bigness?
That's right. And then
I would ask it all wrong. He would be squashed.
Are you uncomfortable with my bigness? This sounds like BBW questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you with bigness?
I am a boss. I'm
a boss. Are you okay being the
Can you level up? Can you level up?
3 boss bitches at the table, bro. This is a wild concept. I can't believe they really put this together. 3 boss bitches on the hunt for the same type of man. Unbelievable.
And he's running away going,
he's aggressive. Yeah, that was really helpful.
Yeah, that's
Ronan.
That's a good way to think about it.
And the one thing, to bring it back to Ronan, is it actually better for Ronan to learn more about himself by not dating than dating a whole bunch of people? Because in the question, he's asking the question, should I just not date?
Well, I think it depends, because I don't think we have enough information from Ronan, right? Yeah. Like when he says distracting, what kind of distracting? So that's why I posed the question back to him of, you have to ask yourself some questions to figure out, is that the right advice for you?
Yeah.
Are you learning enough from dating that's actually giving you the right information about yourself? Or is the dating actually taking you off course? Because you're getting invested in the drama of things aren't working out or are working out.
Tracy, I think that's a good point for everyone. Are people dating with intentionality?
They really talk about women as if women are men and men are women. So we have like the exact same motivations and the same internal emotional mechanisms and whatnot. And for men, all the emotional stuff is way less complicated. We just kind of check boxes, Do I like you? Do you annoy me? How much do you annoy me? If we go out somewhere together, are you okay? Are we cool out in public together? You check a couple of boxes and then, we're good. Women live in this constant state of emotional turmoil. And then like they approach problems as if we're both supposed to have the same emotional turmoil. It's annoying.
To learn something, right? Or people just out there. And if you're not reflecting on why you picked somebody, why the dinner went well, why you laughed, and it's just happening to you without, for men and women.
Yeah.
Bro, why you keep telling me of a Michelle Obama got Kawhi Leonard's hands down, but never get this out of my head. I bet if she took her nails off, she could palm the ball. She could just straight palm the ball, bro. Just pop them nails right off. She taught Barack everything he knows on the court.
For anybody of any sexual preference, it's like doing some self-assessment through the process. I would encourage, you know, because we're not taught to do that either in dating.
I agree.
You know, there's no guide.
Did he call again?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, where did you go? Where did he take you? And are we
What does he do?
Right. Are we asking questions of how do you feel? Why did you feel that way? Why did this relationship end? I think that may be what Ronan's friends are suggesting. And he can do that and he can do both.
Yes, he can.
He can date but be more reflective about the process. And I think that's true for everyone.
Yeah.
If you want to have a partner, you've got to know yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, you see this gender neutral advice. If you want to have a partner, you got to know yourself, right? This is advice that could work for a man, a woman, an employee, an employer, a donkey, a farmer, and any pairing of people. This is very, very neutral advice here. And this is why the Michelle Obama podcast is pretty much trash, because the thing is, being Michelle Obama, being the wife of Barack Obama, because let's be honest, if Barack had never got to the White House, nobody would care about Michelle Obama. They'd probably be divorced by now. But it looks crazy to divorce the first black president, so she's just gonna have to ride it out. But because Barack did make it to the White House, Michelle Obama gets to like coast on his coattails, essentially, right? And then here's the thing. Because you have the cachet of being the first black first lady, and then, you know, you made your little image of it all. You had your dresses and your style thing going on. And, you know, it wasn't terrible. People kind of started to like you from a media perspective. You had your fans and your audience and all that. And you had a genuine opportunity to like turn that into something media worthy. And then you get on the mic and you got your closeted brother. God knows why. I guess he really is your gay bestie, which, you know, that would make sense, right? Because it's her brother. But you want to do the show with your closeted brother and all these random women talking about nothing. Every time I poke my head into this room, it's just a series of nothings. I'm glad I didn't expect more, but this is still way less than I expected. This is just terrible content. But, you know, at least we had a reason to let Tracy Ellis thirst trap us, you know. At 52, it's all right. It's all right. You probably rotten to the core on the inside, but, you know, you kept it up. You kept it up on the outside. Counts for something, I guess. A bikini and high top tennis shoes makes me think her feet stink. Oh, God. Let me see. Is she wearing socks? Can't even tell. She probably doesn't even have socks on. But she's rich, though. She's only going to wear them one time. That's all right. Your feet don't stink until a couple of days. She could wear them once or twice and be cool. Thirst trapping and the Travis Scotts. That's what those are. I don't know my rocker footwear. I ain't really following none of these young entertainers like I used to. That's what those are, the Travis Scotts. I noticed the Nike sign looked a little weird. Hey, man. How old is too old to thirst trap, though? If you make me furor, we will set a 44-year limit at thirst trapping. Once you hit your 45th birthday, elegant sweaters and dresses and all that, you know, you can still, you know, play up your cleavage a little bit if you're, you know, if you got that going on for you. But if you make me Führer, thirst trapping ends after 44. That's it. 45th birthday, you're gonna have a party, you're gonna have like a little send-off. You could take your final thirst trap. Yeah, 45. After that, you weird. We gotta have limits, man. We gotta have limits. We gotta bring back order. We have to bring back order and dignity. Without dignity, there is no order. Without order, there is no dignity. I'm glad we all kind of reasonably come to that agreeable conclusion, right? 45 is the cap. So you got 44 years, actually 44 years. All right, so from 18 to 44, you can thirst trap as much as, you know, your heart's content, right? You can go all the way, do whatever you like. But after 44, on your 45th birthday, you get nothing but mom jeans and sweaters. That's it. Mom jeans and sweaters after that. That's all you get. And no thirst trapping in the school, no thirst trapping in the office. You know what I mean? We have to pay strict attention to the dress codes. We have to maintain order and standards, right? Chicks be trying to get away with all kind of stuff once you start to get lax on the rules. That's right. You got a 25-year run. Had a 25-year run. After that, long dresses. Bringing over a few Iranians to start up a thought patrol in America. You had a 25-year run. I think that's a lot of time. I think that's good time. To the cooking apron. Like, really though, how long do you plan on thirst trapping? I feel like you're just looking down at your crotch, watching gray hairs sprout up. She's like, oh, look, there's another one. Just ping, there's another one just popped out the side of the bikini. You're just staring down, watching the sand drain out the hourglass. Like, how long do you plan on keeping this up? Now, she in it to win it. She say, one day I'm going to find the one. One day I'm going to find the one. Just her and Highlander. That's it. That's it. She is trying to stay alive long enough for Highlander to be the one. That's it. She's waiting for Highlander. There can be only one. I figured it out. There can be only one. And once he's the one, she's going to give it to him, and then she'll finally be happy. She'll be like 98 years old. You know, he'll still be like 25 forever, though. That's the game. That's the game, though. That's really what she's after. He's going to be 25 forever because he's Highlander. He's the one. She's going to be 98. It's like, Duncan, finally. Like, really, what the hell are we doing here? Oh, my God. We don't have any more decency, no more order. All these old bitches out here trying to get Highlander. Man, this is terrible. What's going to happen to us, man? What's going to happen to us all? I fear for the future. At least Tracy doesn't have kids. She can toddle in all of her toddler glory until she marries Jesus. I tell you, she's just going to ride the carousel until she just falls off, bro. That's how it is. You just ride the carousel, and then one day, you might not even notice it. You think you're just going from horse to horse, and then one day you get off one horse and you try to get on another horse, and you just can't make it. You ever actually been on a moving carousel, like while all the horses are going up and down and the thing's spinning around or whatever? You know, this is why kids injure themselves in the carousel, because it's a little bit tricky in there, right? Imagine an old lady. Like seriously, I think about this. Like, I want you to put your thinking cap on, all right? Picture an old lady, you know, no, not even old, not even really old. Like, all right, Tracy's 52 right now. Picture Tracy at an even 55. in the middle of an actual carousel. The thing's spinning around. There's music playing in the background. And the horses are going up and down, just la la la, just wee. And she tries to get on a horse, right? She just got off of a nice, decent horse. It was fine. It was a good ride. The music was good. The horse was strong. And she decided, you know what? I want to try the other horse back there. And she gets off the horse. And then she sees an empty horse and she's like, that's the one I want to try. And she goes and she tries to get on the horse. And the horse just goes right by. She couldn't even get on. She's like, oh, well, that was weird. This carousel's moving a little faster than I remember. She's like, oh, well, there's another horse right there. And so she tries to get on that horse, and then that horse just goes right by. It's like, oh, snap. Is this thing moving faster than I remember? Why are the horses moving by faster than they started out? Like, this is crazy. And eventually, she just can't get on any more horses, right? You're on the carousel, you're right there, but you just can't get on the horse. There's always there's like a row of benches around every carousel. Have you noticed? There's always the row of benches around the carousel. That's where the old ladies sit. That's exactly where the old ladies sit. And eventually, with your head high, because you got dignity, you go over there and you sit on the benches outside around the carousel. That's where the old ladies sit. That's how you wind up. That's how you really fall off the carousel. It's really not a falling per se. I mean, some people do fall. Some people literally fall. Some women are thrown. That's always fun. But it always amounts to the same thing. That's why we put the benches around the carousel for the old ladies. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap this one up. I hope you guys had a great night. We got to get out of here. I just wanted to have a less serious night, because we've been talking about heavier stuff lately, and I've been kind of trying to crank out content. I've been trying to work on videos and stuff like that, and felt like just shutting my brain off. I didn't want to think hard about stuff, so we did a fun show tonight about hoes and whatnot. But because everybody's talking about this, the Carmelo thing and race wars on the horizon, and I'm just kind of tired. So we'll come back to that next time. We'll get back to the race war tomorrow, right? The race war is eternal. There's always time to race war. So hope you guys had a great night. Thank you all so much for coming through. Shout out to everybody who donated to the show. I appreciate each and every one of you. Like I said before, this show is 100% listener supported. Can't do it without you guys. So thank you so much for coming through. Hit the like button on your way out. Don't forget.
I need that money.
Just in case you forgot, the monetization is fully active. Commercials, chats, stickers, monetize the membership club. We are wide open. We are totally in the game. I got to thank all of you guys for helping me get across the finish line. I'm going to try to grow this thing and make it something that none of us imagined before. And I'm trying to remember all of the majority of you guys who are here now, especially the guys wrenched up. We're going to stop giving out wrenches at a certain point. But thank you all. I'll be back with another show. Have a good night, y'all.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help black people.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.